What's your first bold prediction for this year?
All right, so my first one is that Thomas Castellanos leads the team in rushing.
Oh,
You know, he only had I think 193 yards last year. He had over 1,000 the year before, and just over 100 the year prior. But I think he will be our leading rusher. Just thinking about how Gus Malzahn's offense has worked in the past, I think he's going to run Tommy a lot. So yeah, I think Tommy will be our leading rusher this year.
all right. I'm going to go running back too. At least that's the category mine is. Here's what I like about the Castellanos thing. If he's our leading rusher, I think that means we've been really successful.
Correct.
I would even say like you don't even have to take the sack yardage off, but especially if you take the sack yardage off or if he isn't sacked a ton. But if he's running and running effectively, like if he gets anywhere close to 800 yards rushing, which sounds like a lot, but 800 is 75 a game averaged out, right? Like that's not like, that's a lot. That's a lot of rushing yards. So yeah, I think if he gets there, if he gets to 800 yards or more, right? I think that you've been really, really effective running the ball. And you're going to need to be because I don't think Florida State, I think they really like Croma. I don't think they're in love with their running back room. And so you're absolutely going to need to be, you think about some of the depth problems you have, like shortening the game is a big aspect of things. Yeah, I like that one. And I hope it comes true. I need you to be right on this. I'll go with a running back too. I say Croma takes over before September is over. I certainly don't think he starts this weekend. I don't even know that he starts against. I think they'll really try and get the older guys going against East Texas A&M and Kent State to really try and spark something in them so that you don't have to just wear down Croma over 3 years being your lead guy. But I think Croma takes over before September is over. I think he's that good. I don't think they love anybody in that running back room a ton. I hate this, but because we were all really excited about him coming in. But a name we haven't heard all through camp is Cam Davis. Just kind of like sitting over there on the sideline. That sucks. Really hoping. I still hope he can break out and be really good. But yeah, for a room that I don't think Florida State loves, which again, good thing you have a running quarterback. I think he kind of takes the bull by the horns and he's just different and he'll be your starter before. So what's the last game of September? Yeah, so I guess I would have him starting, by the UVA game. If he's not starting that Friday night, I'd be surprised. Well, I don't know if I'd be surprised, but that's why it's a bold prediction, I guess. What's your second one?
All right, so my second one here is that the defense finishes in the top 35
Wow.
of the S&P Plus, according to Bill Conley, which there's a ton of factors that go into it. But it's usually the most accurate metric of an offense, a defense, whatever it may be. But I have very high hopes for Tony White, and I think this defense is going to be solid, not elite, but solid. And I think a top 35 is definitely, again, we're doing bold predictions, right? So a conservative would be top 55, top 50, but I'm going to say top 35.
I'll get right back to the video, but first, I want to give some love to our friends over at Locke's Air Conditioning. We've been telling you about them, but make sure you reach out to them if you have any HVAC needs. Beat the heat with Locke's Air Conditioning, a veteran-owned business. They're in Tallahassee. They are committed to top-notch service and installs with a customer-first approach. Serving Tallahassee and Panama City, they use premium equipment tailored for your needs specifically. They've got unbeatable pricing, flexible plans, and an exclusive 10-year parts and labor warranty. You are covered for a decade at no extra cost. Locke's Air Conditioning is your trusted choice for a cool, comfortable setting. Call now for a free estimate. That is bold. I think. But that's not terrible. Yeah, that's pretty good. I can see that. Bold would have been top 25, I feel like. You want to up it a little bit? You want to go crazy?
Well, it's at top 35.
It's bold, but we're not trying to go crazy here. We're still a little bit humbled, I guess. I'll stay with you. On defense, FSU triples their takeaways this year. Do you know what the number was, Richie? Don't look it up. Do you know what the number of takeaways was last year?
Wasn't it like 7?
The six is what Stats and Info has here. So maybe it was 7, but so I'm going 8. So based on, sportsreference.com, I'm saying they tripled that number. 4 interceptions, 2 fumbles recovered, So I thought it was 7-2, but when I look at the stat, I mean, the stats are right there. So
Let's
I'll
just
say they triple it. I'll say they
turnover
get
luck.
to, I'll say they get to 18. 18's pretty good. Like,
That's bold. That's bold.
that is bold, but you've got a lot of games that I think, now I will say, you're playing a quarterback that's making his first real start in Simpson.
Yeah.
You're playing East Texas A&M and Kent State. You could certainly ratchet up the pressure to up those numbers. I don't know if you stayed up late to watch Stanford last night. You could certainly ratchet it up against them. You play Wake Forest. You play Virginia and Virginia Tech and NC State, who turn the ball over. You're playing Carson Beck, who I'm not predicting you win that game. He was a turnover machine last year, and I don't have a ton of confidence in Miami's wide receivers. And then who knows what happens with Lagway. Lagway had 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions last year. Like, he turned the ball over plenty too. He only started and finished, I think it was 6 games and had 9 picks in that, right? So if he starts and finishes 12 games, is he going to double that? Is he going to be up around 15 or 18 picks? So I think you've got a real good chance to do that. And being more aggressive on defense, I don't know. I'm starting to sell myself into thinking that can happen. It is bold. If Florida State finished anywhere from 14 to 16, I'd be happy. But I'm going to go with tripling it and getting up to 18. Tripling just sounds better than 2.5 in it.
Yeah.
No, they're going to 2.5 it.
I could see that happening because, again, turnover, a lot of it is luck. And Florida State just had horrible luck when it came to turnovers last year, whether it be recovering fumbles, dropping potential interceptions, whatever it may be. But I do think they will have a much better year this year. And again, I'm putting a lot of faith into Tony White, maybe unfounded. And I understand if people, disagree with me on that. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I really do think this defense, again, I just said I project us to have a top 35 defense in the SP plus, and getting 18 turnovers or more would certainly help with that.
All right, I'm going to be pissed if you take my last one. It's a really specific one, so I don't think you are, but I will be really pissed. We should have shared these beforehand. What's your third one?
So I have 4, but I'll read my third one that I have noted here. And I think Florida State either beat, and I know we did our wins and losses last week, and so I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, but we will beat either Alabama, Clemson, or Miami. I think one of those games is going to go our way. Maybe that's just wishful hoping, but I think it's a fairly bold prediction because Florida State will probably be 10 plus point underdogs in all 3 of those games.
I don't know if we're 10 plus in. I think what happens in the Bama game will matter against Miami. I could see Miami being just a touchdown spread, but yeah, certainly still close to it. All right. You didn't take mine, so very good. I only did 3, so you get a 4th one. The Clemson matchup is a ranked matchup. It's ranked versus ranked.
I could see that if Florida State, again, if to your point, if they play well against Alabama, God forbid they beat Alabama, they're going to be
ranked.
If
they beat Alabama, they'll be ranked that week. Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 cupcakes right after that. And then Clemson is fairly early in the season.
No, November. It's late.
November.
But you play all your tough games in November, right? You're going to beat East Texas A&M. You're going to beat Kent State.
Clemson. Yeah.
You should beat Virginia. You should beat Stanford. You should beat Wake. You really should beat Pittsburgh at home. So say you lose to Bama and Miami, as long as you don't get blown out in those and you take care of business everywhere else, you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-2. If you're 6-2 and you didn't get blown out against Bama and Miami, I think God forbid you upset one of those teams, right? Like who'd have thunk? But if you're 7-1, you'd be ranked. I mean, shoot, you'd probably be close to top 10 at that point. But if you're 6-2 going to Clemson in the middle of November, I think it's a ranked on ranked matchup, which, stranger things have happened. But yeah, there's my third one.
Yeah. And then my, I guess we'll call it honorable mention. I think Chroma gets 10 plus touchdowns this year. To include rushing and receiving, I doubt he'll do a whole lot out of the backfield from a receiving standpoint, but I think he gets 10 plus touchdowns. You touched on it earlier. It depends how early he wins that starting job. We all remember Dalvin Cook he didn't win that starting job until Mario Pender got hurt against Syracuse, and Dalvin was kind of the only guy left. And then Jim was like, "Holy crap, this guy is every bit as good as I thought he was when I recruited him." Um, I'm not saying Crum was going to be Dalvin Cook, but I'm going to say he gets 10 plus touchdowns.
I like it. I like that. Yeah, I think that matches the fact that he takes over before September. And you imagine we get big leads in the in that like Kent State or East Texas A&M game, where he could just go for like 2 or 3. Like they put him in to run all the second half, and he gets like 2 or 3 there. You could start out with like 6 in September, just based off of that. So, all right, bold predictions done. Let's give Garnet Gold some love. And I would love to see, actually, before we do that, I would love to see if you watch this live or if you watch it on replay or the clip, whatever. I would like to see what your boldest realistic prediction is for FSU. Sorry, I was still going and I faked Harlan out. I had a pretty good pump fake there. So yeah, but if you, I'd like to hear what your boldest prediction is for FSU this year.